Welcome everybody. Again, good evening as well as good morning. We were discussing Ayurvedic, Chinese, and body system according to modern science. So we are on the verge of finishing this human body system as well as Ayurvedic system. We have already completed Chinese one. So today's faculty is Preeti ma'am, Preeti Arora. So I just hand over just to her so that she can continue with the Ayurvedic. This is chapter number 4, the book Treatment Formula, and the book is Maharshi Bhardwaj. So, welcome Preeti. You just
Thank
continue, just sharing it.
okay. Hello, respected sir and my dear friends. So we'll start with the treatment formula chapter, that is chapter number 4. So in this we have basically to look at the Ayurvedic biological clock today. And we have already studied in Ayurveda that we have 10 elements and every element has its own energy. So we have the elements Akash, Vayu, Agni, Jal, Prithvi, and the metaphysical elements are Kal, Disha, Man, Atma, and Tam. So we already know about these elements and their 10 energies. And we also know that when we had TCM, we had only 5 elements and 6 energies. So this is the basic difference between the Ayurvedic concept of acupressure and the Chinese concept of acupressure. That here we talked about the 10 elements, and that is talking about 5 elements. And again, the most important difference in between Ayurvedic acupressure and TCM is that we here have metaphysical elements, which Chinese people have not discussed. In Ayurvedic, we are also talking about the time. We are also talking about direction. We are also talking about the Atma, and we are also dealing with darkness from which everything has emanated, like the Big Bang theory we have in basically in our science. So let's move on ahead. So in now we say that Ayurveda is based on 3 doshas, which is Vat, Pitta, and Kapha. And these 3 energies, first of all, we must understand the difference between dosha and energy. Basically, Vat, Pitta, and Kapha are the biological energies, and they become doshas only when they are in imbalanced state. So whenever you have problems that are dealing with Vat, Pitta, and Kapha in your bodies, then you will call them as doshas. Otherwise, for all practical purposes, we will just take them as biological energies. Okay. So the 3 main energies, we see that every energy has its individual identity. As Atash is also Atash as a covering also in our body, Atash is taken as skin also. But Atash cannot exist in isolation. It has to have Vayu with it. In order to do its activity, in order to do its various functions in the body, we need Vayu for the heart beating. We need Vayu for the pulse, rhythmic beating of the heart. So every element has to exist with another element to carry out its function. So in that sequence, we must understand that Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, they are not only energies, but they are also doshas when they are in imbalance. And the 3 main energies that we come to in Ayurveda is Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And Vata is formed of Akash and Vayu. Okay, that is element number 1 and the element number 2. Then we move on to Pitta, which is formed of Agni and Jal. So Agni plus Jal gives you Pitta, which is element number 3 and element number 4. And when we come to Kapha, we have Jal and Prithvi. So Kapha is equal to Jal plus Prithvi. That is element number 4 and element number 5, right? So the common trait between all these Vat, Pitta, and Kapha you will see is that all these are physical elements. We don't have metaphysical elements. So Vat, Pitta, and Kapha are formed only of the physical elements, correct? And also these, you must understand that their energies are opposite. They're not only opposite, but they're complementing each other. For example, if I talk about Vat, which is formed of Akash and Vayu, you will see that Akash has no movement or a minimum movement in comparison to Vayu. It's not that it does not have any movement, but it has very less movement in comparison to Vayu, which is movement in itself. Without Vayu, nothing can move in this world, whether it be in the nature that you see around you or whether you see your own body for itself. So you will cannot have, Akash Vayu. Also, when you look at Pit, which is Agni plus Jal, Agni we all know is fire. So fire is obviously hot. It is blazing. Okay, it can go from the least temperature to the highest of temperatures. Similarly, on the other hand, you have Jal, which is coldness energy. which is very cooling effect. So these are very opposite energies. Like on the one hand you have hot, on the other hand you have cold. But when they are coming in existence with each other, when they are coming together, they are both balancing their effects so that they are able to do the activities in your body as well as in nature. So they are all opposite forces, but they're very complementary to each other. Even in tough, you will see, which is Jal and Prithvi, element number 4 and element number 5, you will see that Jal, which is coldest energy, and you have Prithvi, which is solid energy. Prithvi is about all about depositions. It is all about solidification. Okay, it is what should I say? What is the simplest way I can tell you what is Prithvi? Just give me a minute. It is about protection that you have, or it is a stability. It gives you stability. So Prithvi is the one word that can describe Prithvi is stability, and the one word that you can use to describe Jal is coldness energy or a lubricating energy. Without Jal, you cannot have Prithvi. Similarly, if I give you an example from our daily life, if you will take flour, the flour that we have in a kitchen, and if you don't add the water in it, that that flour will never come together, and it will never come together to make a roti or a wheat a pizza base. So we need jal with prithvi in order to form something. Correct? So moving ahead. Um, so when we have Vat, which is a combination of Akash and Vayu in balance in the body, we will see growth and development in the nature as well as in the body. When you will see Pith in balance in your body, you will see that you are able to have strength in your body. You will be able to walk long distances. You will be able to do long durations of work. That is the sign that your Pitta energy is in balance in your body. When you will look at Kapha, this makes you, very active and lively, because the coldest energy is such that it makes you lively, it makes you extrovert. If the person does not have much jal in his body, or if he is dehydrated personality, then he'll be very cold personality. He will not intermingle with people. He will be a very introverted person. This is the way you can, recognize people also, because it is not that the element is only physical element, but it has also its metaphysical ramifications. You know. Okay, so moving ahead, if you would like to me to elaborate on these elements and how we see them in the people, please tell me. I'll do that. And if we will look in the book, now the book, when after it has described your Vat, Pith, and Kapha, it comes to regulated routine, which is the point number 2 in the book. Okay, so this is talking about the fact that you should, respect time. We are all bound by time. There is always a, whenever the moment we are born, we know that from that day onwards, we know that there is a time when we will leave this world. So everything is regulated in this world by time. Okay, so we must learn to respect time if we have to lead a very active and a balanced life. Because if we will not respect time, the time will also not respect us. Time and tide wait for no man. It is a very old saying that we heard in the school textbooks also. So we must respect time, and in that connotation, we must respect time in a day-to-day basis. We have 24 hours in which we can have only 24 hours in which we have to do everything, and we have to obviously do everything on time if we don't want to, suffer in the next day because of the pending works that we have. So similarly, nature also is working on time. You have seasons on time, summer, winter, monsoon. Even your winters also come on time. So nature is also very meticulously following time, and that is what it is telling us, that if you have to come exist with me, you will also have to follow time. So in that connotation, we must understand time in the Ayurvedic pattern also. We have a biological clock in Ayurveda also, as we have in Chinese acupressure. Only difference is that in Ayurveda we have only three doshas that we talked about: Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. They are mostly called as three doshas because obviously we are none of us in balanced state of mind, because our lifestyle is such, the environment that we live in is so polluted that obviously we have these as doshas only manifesting in a body. So we must learn to follow these, three doshas in the 24 hours span also. So our ancestors, they divided the 24 hours into these three doshas. So when you have Vat, Pitta, and Kapha, which is only three doshas, and you have 24 hours, if you will divide 24 by 3, you will get the figure of 8. So in that way, we have divided these three doshas into 8 hours each in a day. So we start the day. Our ancestors took the day starting from 12 a.m. till the next day, which is at 12 a.m. So 12 at night till the next day, 12 at night, they had counted as one day, and this duration they divided into, the Vat, Pitta, and Kapha timings. So we have, if you will turn the page, and you will see on the next page, you have this circle in which you see the morning and the evening times and also the afternoon times. So this is basically about talking about your regulated routine as compared in the connotation of Ayurvedic. So this is known as the Ayurvedic biological clock, and in this we have Vat is getting 8 hours because we divided the 24 hours into three. So you get that we got 8 hours for Vat, 8 hours for Pitta, and 8 hours for Kapha. So we start the time from 12 a.m. to 12 a.m. That is a basic routine that we have. So from 12 a.m. to 8 a.m., if you will see here, it is written 12 night to 4 a.m. It is written as Vat in this table. Then from 8 p.m. 4 to 6 a.m. is Vat Pitta time. Then 6 to 8 a.m. is the Vat Kapha time. And so on this, this cycle continues because every element is in relation with other element. We cannot have Vat without Kapha and without Pitta. We cannot have Pitta without Vat and Kapha, and we cannot have Kapha without Vat and Pitta. So every element has to exist with other element if it has to do any work. Okay, so everything is interdependent in this world. Like you had the concept of yin and yang in Chinese acupressure. If you understand that that aspect, that same aspect is introduced here as also. Okay, that you cannot have these energies exist in isolation, but they will always be in interdependence with each other. So let's move ahead with that. Okay, just give me a minute. So when the element is in its own time zone, it is having 4 hours. So when we are saying that the element from 12 a.m. to 8 a.m. is the Vat time, so the first is Vat, first will come Vat, then will come Pitta, and then will come Kapha. They will follow this order, irrespective of what time we are talking about, right? So whenever you will talk about the time, the Vat thing will always come first. So from 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. will be Vat time because this is Vat time. So this will have the maximum time will be given to that element of its own time duration. The same thing will be in Pitta. When you will talk about the Pitta time, again that will follow for 4 hours. And when you will come to Kapha, the Kapha time will be for 4 hours. So I mean to say that when the element is in its own time duration, it will have the maximum time. And when with other elements, it will have only 2 hours each in the 8 hour span. So from 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. will be your Vat time. From 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. will be your Vat Pitta time. And from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. will be your Vat Kapha time. Again, next you have the Pitta time. So Pitta starts from 8 a.m. So from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. will be your Pitta Vat time. From 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. will be your Pitta time. Okay, this is 4 hours. Then from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. will be your Pitta Kapha time. Okay. So when you come to Vat Kapha, you have 4 p.m. It starts from 4 p.m. From 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. you will have Kapha Vat time. From 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. you will have Kapha Pitta time. And Kapha time will be from 8 a.m. to 12 a.m. So you must have noticed we are getting 4 hours for the Tridosha in its own duration and only 2 hours for the other elements. Okay. So now we must understand what we have to do in these times so that we are able to regulate our life in a very constructive way. And so before I start giving the details about the every time, I must tell you that Vat is anything constructive that you will see. Don't take Vat only as air, but take Vat as a constructive activity that takes place in the body. Okay, don't loosely translate Vat into air. Secondly, Pitta is digestion, basically. Okay. And Kapha is deposition. This is one word that that should come to your mind. When you think Pitta, you think digestion. When you think Kapha, you think deposition. When you think Vata, you take as construction. This is the first one word that should come to your mind. And this word summarizes everything that is associated with that word. Okay. So from 12 a.m. to 4 a.m., which is the first time that we have, this is the Vata time. And since Vata is constructive, is about movement, about activity, about construction. So this is the maximum. This is the time when maximum activity, maximum movement, and maximum construction is taking place in your body. Okay. Although your sleep at this time, or ideally you should be sleeping, but nowadays we have such erratic lifestyles, thanks to call centers and different time zones that we operate in, because of the lifestyles that we have nowadays, ideally we should be sleeping at this time. And if we are at rest at this time, we must be in deep sleep at this time. This is what the science tells us. So maximum construction activity takes place at this time because all the repair and regeneration of the body is happening during this time. Okay. And you must compulsory sleep during this time because this is the time for deep sleep. Also, this is mentioned in your book because if you will see your page 53, the same thing is mentioned in the book as well, that all the senses are able to perform their work during this time. And since Vata is the basis of regulation of all the activities, so all the various activities that are, that are dealing with repair, with regeneration, with detoxification, all this is happening during this time. So this is the time for Vat. Next time is about 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. This is the time when Vat is with Pit. Okay. So this is the time of digestion. Since I said that Pitta means digestion, so this is the time of digestion, which does not mean always mean the digestion. Don't take digestion only with food. Digestion is also about your thoughts, about what you think. In Indian culture, it's said that like 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. is the ideal time to get up and do some chanting, do some mantras, do some pranayams, and you should think positive thoughts during this time. Let out positive vibrations. To recharge your batteries for the day. So it is not only about, this is all about digestion. Okay, so it's not only that food is digested during this time, it is also your thoughts which are digested. What you're thinking at this time, what are you manifesting at this time, what you're giving out in the universe is all going to manifest into your lives at some point or the other. So it is not only that whatever goes inside, it is not about the food that is digested. Whatever you're taking inside in terms of thoughts, in terms of whatever ideas you're having for the day, whatever plans you're making for the day, all that is going to be digested. Your mind is going to digest all of that information and it is going to make it a reality. Okay. So this is the ideal time also to study because the mind is very receptive at this time and it will digest all the information that is at its disposal during this time. And this is also known as the Brahma Purat in our Indian traditions, if I must say, because this is the best time to do all the spiritual studies also. So all the constructive thoughts are, given to your mind so that they may nourish your body. You're able to formulate such a routine that you're going to stick to that only, not going to, you're going to avoid addictions, whether it be of mobile or whether it be of food or any other addiction that you might have. You will avoid all that and you'll try and make a fresh start to the day. You'll try and be different from the previous day. So this is all about that. And it is interestingly to said that whatever do you do between 4 a.m. to 6 a.m., it also becomes your sanskar. It becomes a part of your DNA. So basically, you're creating your own destiny during this time. Then the third element that we have, the third option the third time period was about 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. This time is Vat is with tough. This is the Vat tough time. Now tough, like I said, is deposition. So Vat will eliminate all this deposition in the terms of toxins. So whatever the toxins you have in the body, it is the tough is holding on to that. And Vat, because it is an activity, it will take out all those toxins from your body. It will eliminate those toxins in the terms of stool, in terms of urine, in terms of if you're exercising during this time, if you're walking during this time, it will be also be expelled out in the form of sweat also. So if someone is constipated, you should try and tell that person you get up at 6 a.m. on a regular basis, and you will see that your constipation will go out because this is the time to expel those toxins from the body. Okay. You will definitely see a change if you try and wake up at 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. and if you try to expel the stools from the body, you will definitely see that you will never be constipated because the body tells you at this time that I am ready to do expelling of the stools, of the toxins. This is the body's natural way of living. Only we have spoiled this natural way of living by our irregular times of sleeping and eating. Otherwise the body is very much in harmony with nature. So if you will definitely get up at 6 a.m., between the 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., you will definitely see a definite improvement in your constipation. Now the next you have the pith time. After 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. is the pith time. Now pith means digestion, like I said. So this is the best time. From 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. is the ideal time for your breakfast. And whatever you eat at this time will be easily absorbed of the body, since the body is in a receptive state to absorb the nutrients from it. This is the best time to give food to your stomach so that it will absorb and move it on to small intestine so that it may do its own work. And this is how it moves ahead. So this is the most constructive time to have food since it will be digested very easily by you. Second time is about 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is the pith time, so you have 4 hours in which pith does its own work. After you've eaten the food at 10 a.m., if you finished breakfast, this is the time when the body is working on that food, trying to digest it, assimilate it, and make it a part of your blood at this time. Also, this is the best time to have lunch. Whatever you eat again will be digested. So, if since pitta is really dealing with digestion, the time of your breakfast and the time of your lunch falls during this time. Obviously, when you come after eat your food, you'll feel a little drowsy. So, looking at that, you have 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., which is given to you for resting. You don't have to sleep during this time. After food, it is not advisable to sleep. But this is advised by the ancestors that you should always rest after you have had food. In fact, they say that after you have had food, you should not move even, you should remain sitting where you have taken the food for 30 minutes so that the body is able to concentrate only on that food and not on any other movement in the body. This is what is our ancestors said. So in that way, they have said that this is pith tough time and this is a time of deposition and digestion. Since tough deals with deposition and pith deals with digestion. So this is the ideal resting time when they tell you to rest and not sleep. Okay, so that the body can focus on this food and what nutrients it has to separate from that food. Then you have the time from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., which is the tough time. This is tough Vata time. Now, tough is deposition, and Vata is also about movement or activity. Okay, I'm just repeating so that you can relate again and again. It comes very naturally to you in just a small duration only. So tough is not only deposition, but it also signifies something which is shant, which is at peace, which is thanda, which is cold, which is at rest. In jamav, जिसको हम कहते हैं हिंदी में. So tough means that all the above things, and tough is deposition, and vat is movement or construction. So this is the best time when the kids should go out and play, and the adults should go for their walks. Okay. And movement, anything movement can be done in this time in spite of all the different time zones that we live in. But this is the best time to go out of the house, breathe the fresh air, and take your walks. And then you have the 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. time, which is the tough pith time. This is the ideal time for dinner. And this is the best time for dinner because they are telling you to go off to sleep at 12 a.m. so that you can start for your next day's routine. So food also needs to sit, our stomach takes 4 hours to digest that food also. So by the time you have your food at 8 p.m., you'll be very much in concentration, in harmony with your 12 a.m. time, which is the Vak time, so that it can start all the constructive activities of repair, regeneration, digestion, all that has been done with, so that all those activities move smoothly in your body. It does not give rise to any imbalances or any diseases in your body. Then you have 8 p.m. to 12 p.m. time, which is the tough time. So this is the 4 duration. In this time, your best told you will start feeling drowsy. If you have followed, even if you have not followed this biological clock also, you will definitely see that you have feeling very tired or drowsy during this time. So this is how the body is already programmed by nature. So even if you don't follow this clock, you will definitely follow this 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. time. Anybody and everybody on this planet Earth is bound to feel sleepy, drowsy at this time. So the body also tells you to please follow the biological clock so that I can, do my work, my organs can rest, I can detoxify myself, I can assimilate the food that you have eaten. The body also tells you, it gives you signs, it gives you signals that this is the time I need to rest. You have, exhausted my energy so much that I really need to rest. So if you will start listening to your body, you will automatically come to following this routine. So this is the time for complete rest and no physical activity should be done during this period. Ideally, you should be, totally and completely in deep sleep at this time so that the body can do its own work that it has to do. So it can prepare itself for the next day's labor that it has to do going through. And we really must understand this biological clock. It is very simple to follow because it is very, I must say it is, what should I say? It is very flexible. It is not very rigid in comparison to what we had in the Chinese acupressure, which was divided into only 2 hours each for every organ. So in comparison to that, I feel this is my favorite because I feel that it is very practical, it is very flexible, and we can easily follow this, biological clock, and we can all aim to have a healthy and a long life which we can enjoy with the friends and family. So we really must try and follow this biological clock. Now, if anybody has any questions, I am open to that, please. I'm finished what I had to say.
So, good morning and good evening. I'm Preeti Ji. So, what about if you just have one meal per day or two meals per day? Which of the times should you have those meals? Which is the best
Well,
time? Because we have.
ma'am, we had the pit time, right? We had this when we have discussing about 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. That was
Uh-huh.
if you're talking about breakfast, we had the time of 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. And if you talk about lunch, then we have the time from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It all depends on which time zone you're in, ma'am, because we're all, I guess, we're all international students that we have here, ma'am. So, in whatever time zone you're in, you know, this is the best time
Yes.
to.
So, if you want to skip a meal, which would be the ideal meal time to skip?
I would not advise you to skip any meal because breakfast is previously we had seen that many people skip breakfast. You know, there was a trend or a fad we have in these days that everybody was skipping breakfast. You know, but we know that skipping breakfast is not a good option because that is your first boost of energy that you get from the food that you eat. So I would
Okay.
not recommend meal. You know, you can have a light dinner or you can only have soups for dinner. But as far as the morning meals go, ma'am, you should obviously have to have breakfast and you should always have lunch. But if you want to skip a meal, please be very light meal on the dinner time, like have only soups or salad or
Okay.
maybe a glass. You can try and do that as a light meal, but please don't skip meals because body need. If you will skip any meal, the body will start forming acid, and if it will start forming acid, that acid is going to reflux. You know, at some point it will have the contraction of energies. It will come into your food pipe. It will come to you. You will feel it in your mouth also in form of belching also. So body does not work according to you. It has its own sweet way of working, and it needs to follow that routine. We cannot mess with nature actually. So we can have
Okay.
light meals so that we can have every meal, keep every meal light. If you don't feel much of an appetite, keep the meals light, but don't skip meals, please.
Okay. Thank you.
Mention not, ma'am.
Okay, continue.
Sorry, sir.
Now you can continue.
Sir, my lecture is finished, sir.
Okay. Any question from anybody? Oh, should I go? Yeah. Karen, Angel, Angela, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Uh, Welcome. Any question from your side?
No, sir.
She's Angela, ma'am. Preeti, she's Angela, ma'am, and she's in semester second.
Oh wow, you're in. I'm also in semester second.
We all are students virtually, and we are
Yeah.
just discussing, not teaching anything. We are just
Hmm.
discussing.
When, so when is the second semester starting?
Yeah, we are 6th April.
Okay.
Classes will be started on 6th April.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Before that, you have to prepare your assignment and all that, because because semester one is complete. Semester second is not complete, but still
Hmm.
you can continue with that. You have got all books, Angela, ma'am. All books.
No, No, of anything. Pamela, I think she just posted it off for me. So it should take maybe like 2 weeks to get here.
So I think the class is over, and we have to continue for nutrition on 10th, and Preeti ma'am will just discuss that nutrition too. And
Yes, sir.
after that, this treatment formula, that means chapter 4 will be taken by me, and probably on 10th it will be finished. If there is anything left, I'll take it on other day, and then I'll let you know. So Geeta ma'am, any question from you? Karen, any question from you?
No, sir. Preeti ji answered my first question that I had.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
So this is our Ayurvedic thought, but anyone can continue with the lifestyle. Because we just say कि on the basis of this Vat Pitta Kapha, since we say that when they are in balanced form, they create the force, the energy. But when they are in imbalanced form, then they are said to be dosh. They create some uneasiness. That is the concept. If we follow these things, then we are just, because Ayurveda says our lifestyle should be changed, and that should be synonymous with the nature. That's why this is said. If we continue just to wake up in the night, this is not, this is against the nature rather. That is why this modern our science, that means the science of East, Ayurveda as well as Chinese, they thought that we should go with the nature. There should be synchronization with the nature. Our daily activity will be governed by the nature. Sun rises at about 6. We should we should virtually rather welcome the sun, not sun should welcome us.
We get up at 6, but we can't make that 8 o'clock going to bed at all in the West.
Virtually what we are saying, because of when we just go beyond be against the nature, then we create some uneasiness inside us. That is the concept.
Mhm.
But we cannot say that everyone will follow. I know,
Mhm.
no, no one can. But those who are just following it, they said, you just see the strength of yoga. At zero temperature, they are just traveling at zero temperature. They are sitting.
Mhm.
How can do that? Because energy is there, and energy from the cosmos. That is the concept.
Mhm.
So, Preeti ma'am, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Session, good session. Tomorrow there will be only one class, and no, tomorrow there will be two classes. Rather, one nutrition and one this treatment formula. And after that, uh, if anything is left, we'll continue next. Okay, thank you, Angela. Thank you, Geeta ma'am. Thank you,
Yeah.
Karen. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, friends.
Bye. Mhm.
Bye.